Hello, I'm Ruth Perednik. I'm the head of the Selective Mutism Treatment Centre. I want to talk to you today about how to leverage the summer in order to help your child start from a better place regarding the selective mutism at the beginning of the next school year. Summer is a great time to start because any transition is at the same time daunting, but it is an opportunity, a window of opportunity for change. Summer is also a time which is relaxed, pleasant, enjoyable usually, and mainly for a child with selective mutism, the child will see him or herself more as a speaking child more of the time, because if the child spends the summer with her or his family and there she talks, as opposed to the hours upon hours of school time where the child isn't managing to talk, that is also a very empowering experience. So I always talk about what parents, teachers, and then professionals, therapists can do, or key workers. And I would recommend getting expert advice in order to guide this summer intervention. First of all, as soon as possible, find out where your child will be, whether the transition is to a new school, who the teacher will be. If possible, get a list of classmates. If it's to a new grade, also check who the teacher will be, see if you can be in touch with them. And then put a plan in, firstly plan the plan, and then put the plan into action. So regarding what parents can do, inviting friends home during the summer can be so significant because then the child can start the school year having a social relationship with a few children in his class. And there's a good chance, perhaps, that your child will speak to that child at home. And that also can serve him so well at the beginning of the school year, feeling that there are one or two children in the class with whom I talk at home. And I frequently talk to parents who see that the kind of exposure to children, to playmates, it's not necessarily going to work the first play date and an hour-long play date, but very often if it's repeated, if during the play dates the parents are there to facilitate in order perhaps to play recordings so the child's voice will be heard, to have fun activities. So even if the child doesn't manage to talk, it will make him feel social and competent and appreciated. So that's one thing parents can do. The second thing is to be in touch with the child's teacher or kindergarten teacher in the following year and put forward a plan of action. And that plan of action is based, as always with selective mutism, on exposure, on gradual exposure within the child's comfort zone and pushing the limits of the child's comfort zone. So I'm going to give you an example of, say, a child moving from kindergarten to first grade. Firstly, the parents will find out who the teacher is and be in touch with the teacher, and preferably with a professional who specializes in selective mutism who can guide the intervention. And then during the summer, we'll invite friends home who will be the child's peers in first grade so that he or she will feel comfortable with the peer, perhaps even having talked to them at home. And then, and this is the center of the intervention, to have a behavioral intervention even before the school year begins with the teacher. Now, if the teacher can come to the child's home and connect with the child there, and perhaps be very non-intrusive, very, very non-threatening, and be at the child's home and have a pleasant interaction with the child, then that can be a great start. But regardless of whether this happens, if the parents get permission from the school before the school goes out to vacation to come, say, to the school, say the week before school begins, and initially be with the child there, perhaps with one or two friends, and the child will just have a good time playing with the parents inside the classroom. And if he is talking to one or two friends, those friends could also be there. And so the child will see himself, firstly, as somebody who talks within the four walls of the class. And you can go there and have some treats and bring some games that are the child's preferred games and play with the child there without any school staff there. That's meeting one within the four walls of the school. And if the child speaks, that is wonderful. And you can also bring recordings or a talking album so that you can start off the meeting by listening to the child speaking on the recordings, on the videos, just in a very playful way. So say that's the first meeting in the actual class. And then perhaps a couple of days later, you can go to the classroom again and again, play with a child without the teacher there. And just, have a pleasant time playing and running around and feeling free and feeling talkative and communicative. And then pre-prepared with a teacher. Have the teacher come in and initially not even relate to you and to your child. You may be sitting in one area and the teacher will come in and be in another area. And perhaps she will just be decorating the walls and not even paying attention to you or your child. And then she'll go out again. And that will be the first step to see if your child will continue talking, continue playing your game when he is in one corner of the class and somebody comes in and just doesn't relate to you, but sticks up some pictures on the other side of the class. And then the teacher can come in again and again stick up some pictures on one side of the class and then approach the other corner where you are playing with your child and perhaps a friend if he is talking to a friend. And then just sit and the teacher can have a little chat with you and see if your child will continue playing the game with his friend or with you. That could be a game like Guess Who, Go Fish, any game that requires speech. And if he does, then the teacher can just be present, chatting mildly with you, with a parent, for a few minutes. And if the child continues talking, then the teacher can actually join in the game. Take a couple of cards and join in Go Fish, or ask one of the questions, or in Guess Who. And sometimes, often, this is a way to start talking to the teacher before the school year begins. Now, if the child does not talk to the teacher, then in any case, you could take out a pre-prepared talking album and just leaf through it and listen to your child talking on the talking album. And then, regardless of whether the child spoke to the teacher or not, this can be the basis of what I like to do at the beginning of the school year, a 4-week intervention with a teacher based on her hearing every day for 3 minutes the talking album together with the child with a selective mutism. And that will be my next Facebook post on how to do a 4-week intervention with a teacher at the beginning of the school year. But if you can do this summer intervention with parents, inviting friends home, enabling the child to have a fun and happy summer where he sees himself primarily as a talking child, and get in touch with the school and get the list of peers so you can invite the friends home and do this brief intervention that is going in twice to the school, once without the teacher and once with the teacher, but in a behavioral way where within this hour session in the school, the second one, the teacher gradually introduces herself. And even if your child doesn't talk to the teacher, he will be heard by WhatsApp or messages that you'll play in front of the teacher, or preferably with a talking album, because that then is a wonderful start for a 4-week intervention with a teacher, which I will discuss in my next post. So have a wonderful, happy, relaxed, free summer where your child is just gaining so much feeling of empowerment and of being who he really is all the time, And hopefully that will also be a time to leverage starting the new school year from a better place. And sometimes these brief interventions even lead to the child talking to the teacher and talking to some peers before the school year begins. Have a great summer.